Data and probability, just the title scares a lot of people off. But data and probability for young children are not scary at all. In fact, they're even fun. Let's start with data. We're surrounded by data in the world today. You can type a question into Google and find out the capital of Tanzania or the cheapest place to buy Legos. It can be overwhelming, but having access to data helps us when we're making decisions. For example, we might use data to help us decide what's the best deal on a cell phone or which market to shop in this week for milk. Children can use data on an everyday basis. There are three elements of data: collecting data, representing data, and interpreting it. And we want to expose children to all three. Surveys are the easiest way to collect data, but of course young children don't go around with clipboards at shopping malls. You can use circle time to collect some data and represent it for the children. Yes and no surveys are the easiest to start with. You can ask questions like, "Do you have a pet?" and get yeses and nos and represent that in a table. You can even use a graph to indicate who's present every day. Later, as children get used to yes and no questions, you can begin to ask more complicated questions like, "Do you have a dog, a cat, a gerbil, or a bird for a pet?" One of the best ways to represent data is a graph you can make out of an inexpensive plastic tablecloth. Take it and with a ruler and a permanent marker or colored tape make rows and columns. The number will depend on how many children and the kinds of questions you'll be asking. Then you can decide on something to use to indicate a vote. You could use cardboard circles or real items like stuffed animals or caps, and you could get fancy and have name cards with the children's pictures on them. In any case, you can ask the question and the children can put their marker in the correct place, and when everyone is voted, you can look at the data and interpret it. More people have dogs for pets, fewer people like strawberry ice cream than chocolate. Though young children have a hard time voting, they want to vote multiple times, you can with practice get children to vote only once. Give them a voting ticket. How many people would like to go outside before lunch? Count the votes and let them know that because more people want to go outside, we'll have outside time before lunch. What about interpreting data? Well, you can look at a chart and ask children, what do children like more with snack? Peanut butter, vanilla, or chocolate chip cookies? Or for older children, how many more children like chocolate chip than vanilla cookies? Data is all around us, and children can, like adults, use data to make good decisions, but only if they know how to collect it, represent it, and interpret it. Probability is most commonly associated with rolling a die. When most of us were young, we played board games and had opportunities to use dice. This was helpful not only for learning probability, but also for counting and subitizing, which means knowing a number without counting the individual items. However, today few children are exposed to board games, and so they don't have this experience. So, we might introduce children to spinners. You could make one with activities and talk about which one you would get to do, or you could make a spinner with a probability of one thing higher than the others, so children can see probability in use. Another great way to talk about probability is to talk about the weather. Will it snow today? How likely is it that we'll need our coats today? And questions like that. We don't need to teach young children that they have a 1 in 6 probability of rolling a 2 on a die, but we can give children opportunities to see that probability has to do with things being fair, like on this spinner, or not fair, like on this one. Remember that data and probability are all around us. Look for opportunities to have children observe, ask questions, represent their data, and interpret it.